some president we had recently wanted to build a wall. It's a fairy tale.
Yep.
You know, wanted to build a wall on the border because we have a problem with people just walking across. And the monthly encounters with migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border remain near record highs. Let me bring up this picture here. This is from the Pew Research Center. And basically, they're just kind of listing there over time the various, these are the encounters. Now, these are just the people that have been caught. So,
What's that?
Keep in mind.
Can we assume that's like 50% or less?
I would say probably about 50%. So there's two main kinds of encounters. There's apprehensions and then there's expulsions. So basically, they'll either apprehend someone and then, release them to show up at a court date later, which, that ever happens. Or they will actually just send them back across the border, which rarely happens. Usually it's a catch and release type of thing now for the most part. Sometimes they'll actually arrest or detain people for a while if there's a reason to suspect something. But
got some pretty heavy spikes here in the last year or two.
There are, and actually let me bring that picture up again because at the bottom I added the different presidential administrations down there. You had some really high numbers under Clinton, then they came down a bit under Bush. And then Obama, which to his credit, the numbers were lower under Obama, but then Trump took over and the numbers were pretty low. Then they spiked. There was that one, couple month
May
incident.
Of 19, yep.
Yep, where there was the caravan that came through.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which, there's quite a bit of evidence actually that's indicated that was kind of a manufactured crisis. And then, once Biden came in, it was kind of like, a hold my beer kind of moment because, it's like everyone's just running for it now. But the number of monthly migrant encounters...
Biden had kind of that half-hearted, don't come.
Yes.
But they're like, well, what happens if I do come? Oh, we'll fly you all across America and we'll give you a free cell phone.
Yeah, you get a free phone, you get free medical care, all kinds of stuff.
Why not?
So as there's two main types, there's apprehensions and expulsions. There's also been a shift, though, in the origin of countries and stuff. It used to be everyone that crossed the border, they were, generally speaking, they were, from, Mexico. Well, that's kind of changing now. Most border encounters now involve people from countries other than the Mexico Northern Triangle.
That's
so
sketchy.
If you notice there, from left to right, the percentage of people actually from what you would call the Northern Triangle countries, and that'd be like what people normally would think of crossing the border, like people from Mexico, things like that, is now is starting to be smaller. You got the people from Mexico, you got the Northern Triangle, but you have other countries now that are in there. And, that's starting to become a little bit more of a problem. You've got people now coming from Colombia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Peru, and Venezuela. There were, for example, prior to April of 2020, there were only 4 encounters with Colombian nationals in April of 2020. By 2022, that figure had increased to 15,439. So there's even steeper increases in encounters with migrants from Cuba. 161 encounters of April of 2020 compared to 34,639 in November of 2022.
You know what else on that? With those exploding numbers, did you see the videos on that, basically a barrage of 1,000 people trying to break through the El Paso checkpoint, like just storming it? Did you notice that like 90% of them were military-age men?
Well, that's another thing. It's interesting you say that because, let me bring up this picture here, the makeup has also been changing now. The single adults
there it is.
Have now driven an increase in the migrant encounters during the pandemic. Now it's single adults in November of 2022, 143,908.
Since May.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So, the numbers are skyrocketing, but here's the part that alarms me. And I actually had a lot more detail with this, but I'm just kind of going through it quick because a lot of it gets into, it's kind of a little dull. But these are things we need to be concerned about because not only does this cause a huge draw on our social welfare system, which, it does. It causes demographic shifts, it causes geopolitical shifts and stuff. They're kind of, you've probably heard about the fact that they've got these midnight flights where they're taking these people to all over the parts of the country. some of that is they're seeding pockets because they understand that when these people cross the border and then they give them all this stuff, they make these people very beholding to kind of the Democrat mindset and process,
right.
At least for a while.
Right.
And so they're using these people to kind of dilute Republican strongholds to kind of get that geopolitical shift to occur.
Right.
To, turn red states purple or maybe purple to blue.
Letting them vote.
But one of the bigger challenges here, Border Patrol apprehensions of Chinese nationals at the southern border are up 800%.
Is there a number on that? A quantity?
I don't know if there's an actual number.
That's insane. So they're shipping people to Mexico so they can come through our southern border.
Actually there is here. Let's see. There have been, what month is this?
I mean, geographically, how does Chinese nationalists get to South America or Central America?
Yeah. According to CBP statistics, there was 1,862 Border Patrol encounters with Chinese nationals between October, when the fiscal year began, and the end of December.
Crazy.
So almost 2,000 in just a couple months there, compared to 229 for the same period the year before.
That is crazy.
And it just went up from there. In December, there were 931 Chinese nationals encountered compared to 64 in the prior year period. So, let's see. Department of Homeland Security source told Fox News that as of Wednesday, this has been a couple weeks ago, that the Rio Grande Valley sector had 15 Chinese nationals in custody, all of whom are adults ranging in age from their 20s to their 50s.
They want to get to their farmland, right?
The
380,000 acres of farmland, they need farmers for the farmland,
yep.
Right? Okay.
So the big question you want to ask yourself is, for one, you had kind of alluded to this, China is not located south of us. So it's not like they're walking their way up through Panama and that is not how it's happening. So these Chinese nationals are coming to the Mexico area somewhere, probably along the Mexican border, because it's a lot more porous there as far as for ocean-going vessels. And then they're crossing the southern border where, for all intents and purposes, it's an open door. These are military-aged Chinese nationals, individuals, just openly crossing our border.
Open your eyes.
I mean, this is a problem.
Some people might call this a clue.
It's something you would think, yes. This is a huge issue that needs to be paid more attention to than what it is. And unfortunately, in light of the current administration and his possible financial involvement, I mean, I don't know anything for sure. He's not going to do anything about it. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed this clip from the Craig's Gun Channel Random Shots program. The program airs Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On Random Shots, we discuss content ranging anything from preparedness, survival, politics, firearms, basically anything that's 2A related, with sometimes some rabbit trails and things that aren't related at all. If you enjoy this type of programming, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified when we release new content. And if you like it, hit the like button and share us if you would as well. It helps the algorithm and helps the channel grow and helps get our message out. So I guess until next time, stay safe.